So in this box are the Boston 13s, and I don't know if somebody messed up and accidentally made them available on Adidas.com, but as soon as I saw them, I immediately purchased. And then hours after, they're not on the website. You can search them, they're not there. So what was a telltale sign for me is they gave a bag, and I've never had a pair of shoes come with a bag. So I thought, oh, it's a specialty box. I buy from Adidas a lot. These boxes this one's special. The box matches the shoes. It's got the date of the Boston Marathon this year, fastest, Adi Zero, and we have some laces that match the teal colorway. So Boston 13, right on the back. And there are not a lot of specs out with the shoe. So that was one thing that I didn't think to look at when the shoes drop. I didn't think to look at the specs, but I think there are some guesses. I think that people are guessing that it's going to be a 7mm drop. It says the stack height on the shoe right there is 36mm, so 36 in the heel. This shoe weighs 265 grams, and that equates to 9.3 ounces. I only was able to take it out for a very short distance, but they look like they have updated the light traction. Is the outsole rubber. Still has Continental. It seems very durable. It looks like it also has the Light Strike Pro. I imagine that is the same foam as the last year's edition. Maybe it could be a little bit better. The upper is super nice. It does have that same kind of webbing material. It's different, but it reminds me of that. It still has a nice plasticky toe box. And if we compare this to the Boston 12, which I was a huge fan of, I actually had 2 pairs of the Boston 12. They are very similar in everything so far. You see a little bit more of the cutout that Adidas likes to do. They still have that same aggressiveness, the foam that kind of hangs over that toe. So that cutout, this comes out a little further, mimics that of the same edition. I will say, actually noticing this upper on the Boston 12 looks a little bit more woven. It's a weaving, and this one looks more like machine printed. I don't know if you can see it, but they're tinier holes. Almost looks like if you crocheted it with a machine. Still feels great though. This one feels a little bit more plasticky, while this one feels a little bit more yarny, if that makes sense. But I loved the Boston 12. I had a ton of miles on them. I had 2 pairs. This shoe does come a little bit heavier than the Boston 12. The Boston 12, I have it at 251 grams or 8.8 ounces. And some of the key differences that you notice right away from looking at them, a lot of people didn't like the Boston 12 because the tongue was so thin. And I would notice it too, and it was also kind of hard to get a really good fit when you tied your laces. Many times on my runs, this tongue would slip down. And it would slip down and I'd have to pull it back up, and then it would slide down. So after a couple times of that, I just was like, whatever, I have to lace this as hard as possible. They got rid of the flap, not a big deal. The bumpers are way more narrower. So that is super aggressive. If you can see that V, the way they come down, that ankle, that is way more aggressive than what the upper was. Does look like it's some pretty heavily padding though. The tongue is very nice. It's a little bit more cloth, and it's not as thin as that Boston 12 was. It does have the straps on the inside of the tongue, way deep down in there. So it looks like the tongue is now connected to the bottom of your foot. So you're not gonna have that tongue slippage, which is great. The lace locking, I wouldn't know what you call it. I guess the lace lock, I guess that's what that is. It covers more laces. So the Boston 12's only covered 1 set of laces. This one does 2, just even more improved. The same amount of eyelets. So there does seem to be about the same amount of Light Strike Pro in the shoes. And if we really compare it to the Boston 11, you can really see the differences that have come far with the shoe. So these were the special pizza editions it was maybe the New York Marathon, but not really. A lot of people hated on the Boston 11 because of how just like hard it was. The light strike wasn't there yet. It's still firm. It's a really firm shoe. I thoroughly enjoyed the shoe, even though everybody kind of hated on it. But then when the Boston 12 came out, I was so stoked. But yeah, the upper has come a long way. Even the Boston 11 had the ankles. You can still see how much more aggressive, even comparing it to the 11, that this is gonna be. So it probably runs a little bit narrower, but I'm super excited to take this shoe out for a spin. Even though it looks to be the same Light Strike Pro, it could be a little different. It could be a little bit upgraded. It feels good, and I'm excited. I really want to get some miles in this shoe. I'm just blessed to be one of the lucky people that actually bought the shoe when it was on the website. I would imagine the shoe doesn't drop until like Boston Marathon weekend. I don't remember when the Boston 12 dropped. That would just be my guess. I bought the shoe with my own money. It retails at the same price as the Boston 12 did, which is $160. I imagine it has the same rod system because I don't think Adidas is going away from that. It seems to be working out for them pretty well. So yeah, the Boston 11 weighed 10 ounces. The Boston 12 weighed 8.8 ounces. And now the Boston 13 weighs 9.34 ounces. I think Adidas probably listened to a lot of the people that complained on the shoe about the tongue, and that's why they also have it really embedded into the shoe. It's a little less stack than I think the Boston 12 had. It has 1 millimeter less stack than the Boston 12, but I don't think this is gonna be a problem. Don't know where this fits in the lineup anymore. When I was running in the Boston 12s, I really enjoyed using it as like a daily trainer. So I think that's where it's gonna go for me. But I also have the Evo SL, which is $10 cheaper, and I feel could probably do the same thing that this shoe can do. Yeah, this shoe is immediately gonna go into the rotation. I'm excited to let it be my new daily. Durability does not seem to be a problem. It seems to have a very premium feel to it. It feels more like a real rugged shoe than the Evo SL. The Evo SL is that, lightweight, super nice, very comfortable shoe. This feels like a good, I don't know how to describe it other than you're gonna go for a run and you're gonna, I don't wanna say own the run, but you're really gonna go and you're gonna get a good run. I don't know. The Light Strike Pro on this does feel very nice. So I'm curious to see if it's the same as the one before. They do feel very similar, but yeah, like I said, this shoe's gonna go straight into the rotation. I can't wait to gobble up miles. I want to put at least 100 miles on it before I give a really good review. I plan on reviewing this as well as the Evo SL, even though they are kind of competitors in a way in price and whatnot. $10 off, they kind of can do the same thing. Some people are saying that the SL is a little bit more tempo. Could be. I would throw this one as a daily. If I think back to my Boston 12, I would run my Boston 12s up to about 10 miles. That would be my kind of daily limit, but I did run 12 miles in the Evo SL the other day. So you definitely can do both. Sometimes it's just more comfortable for me. But yeah, very interested. I assume same nylon plates, same feel as the Boston 12. It's probably not overwhelming. If you hated the tongue on the Boston 12, you're probably gonna really like this one. Seems to be listened to. Upper is a little different, still looks breathable, still looks very comfortable. Light Strike looks very similar, feels maybe a little new. But overall, I think Adidas listened to the people, tried to probably add a little bit more into the shoe, but then kind of take away some of the parts that, they wanted to keep the weight down a little bit. It did go up on weight a little, but not much. Only thing I worry about is if anybody's gonna have any problems with the V cut of this. So even cut on it, it's gonna push, if you push up on that, it's gonna widen the shoe a little bit. So, but those are just first thoughts. And hopefully I can get 100 miles on these pretty quickly, come out with a 100-mile review of what I really like about this shoe and what I don't like about the shoe. So if you're gonna be into that, stay tuned. I want to get at least 100 miles, the next couple weeks. Probably will take me a month. Hopefully they'll be dropping these very soon. I would love to see them in other colorways, but I imagine this probably goes along with the Boston colorway this year. That's all I have for this one. That is the first look at the Boston 13s. Very exciting shoe. If you like the video, please give it a like, subscribe. Anything helps, share it. Have a good one.